How we doing? Are we kicking off SubSummit officially here on the main stage? Amazing.
What's up?
It's great to be here. This is my third SubSummit. And as always, it's fun to run into people in my pajamas as I go pick up DoorDash from the lobby. But excited to be here today. My name is Nick Sharma. I'm the CEO of a company called Sharma Brands. We work with a lot of your favorite brands, everything from Feastables to Everlane to Jolie to Alice and Olivia, and help them with a lot of their growth marketing. And I'm excited to be here today with Leo, who's been somebody that I've admired for years and finally got to meet in person. So Leo, you want to give a quick background?
Yeah, it's very nice to meet you, Nick, finally, too. Likewise, I've been following your podcast and your stories for 5-7 years now, so happy that SubSummit finally put us together. A romance is blossoming over here. I'll see you at dinner tonight.
Yep.
I joined FabFitFun about a year and a half ago to run marketing for them and build out future products that go just beyond the box. So very, very, very excited to talk about that today, Nick, with you, and maybe shed some light on what's to come with FabFitFun.
Amazing. Leo, the theme of SubSummit this year is frictionless. So I'm curious to start, what does frictionless mean to you in the context of subscriptions and subscription boxes?
Good question. So I look at it probably in two parts. The first part's the member part. And when the member comes to FabFitFun, it's really important that they feel, I know it's going to sound cheesy, but like family. Kind of like Olive Garden, you know, like the saying, like when you're here, your family.
Free breadsticks? Or?
Yeah, free breadsticks. Yeah, we have a lot of freebies, actually, a lot of mystery bundles and freebies, because we do want people, like we know that FabFitFun is shopping in box, but we want people to have like a very, very, very delightful experience when they're within the FabFitFun ecosystem. So how do we do this? We know one of the biggest hurdles or points of friction is paying for things. You're like, oh, do I need it? Do I want it? Especially in these times. So we think a lot about how, when people are shopping their box or customizing their box, how does that experience almost feel like a gift to yourself? And so for the last year and a half, one of the things that we've focused a lot on is converting our seasonal members to annual members, or acquiring annual members from the onset. And we did a lot of changes to make that happen. So now roughly 80% of our entire customer base are annual members. Now, what does that have to do with feeling like you're an Olive Garden? So since most people actually, put down the money for their next 4 boxes in the very beginning, when they actually go in to customize their box, they're like a month, 2 months, 3 months already after the fact from which they already gave us their credit card. And so that moment feels free. Like that customization moment is crazy. And everyone says this in our community, which, we should talk about at a certain point, but everyone says the same thing. FabFitFun isn't like shopping. It's like a gift to myself. And so to me, I know there's a lot of like mechanics that exist around how do you make something frictionless, but on a very emotive level, like that is the most important thing for people time and time again, as they shop more frequently with us, to feel like what they're buying isn't a purchase, it's a gift to themselves. And then the second way that we do that for members is around personalization, right? So just like finding ways in which, we could serve them up a product that they didn't know they want, but as soon as they saw it, they're like, oh my God, this is exactly what I need. And the way in which we do that, it's like our secret sauce in many ways. We've had years of consumer insights data. We were one of the first ones to pioneer things on the machine learning side. But that is one of the core, or the 2 core pillars that really makes a frictionless experience for our members. And I'll talk about one other part of our business, which we don't talk a lot about, but it's how do we continue that frictionless experience to our brand partners? We care just as much about our brand partners as we do about our members. And most people, I think, know FabFitFun as like, oh, there's products in the box. But the truth of the matter is, the way that brands end up working within FabFitFun isn't just a one-size-fits-all. Isn't like, hey, let me go in your box and here's a 500,000 PO and let's go. It could be as simple as an influencer post. And I'll give you an example. We had this one influencer, Macy Blackwell, who just had an influencer contract with us. And she knocked on our door, on the merchandising team's door one day. She's like, look, I have an idea for a product, and I really want to release this thing in the home goods space. We're like, great, winter box, let's go, we'll slot you in, and let's make it happen. And now we're talking to her about taking what was once just a $1,000 per post influencer relationship to how do we help you build a multifaceted brand. And I think that's the other part of FabFitFun as I think about frictionless, that is, and I think about the future of FabFitFun that's becoming ever more exciting for us.
That's amazing. I'd love to skip around a little bit and double click on the personalization piece. How, in a world of third-party logistics companies can you guys create personalized boxes at the scale that you have for FabFitFun? Like, how does that tactically work for people here in the audience?
I'm seeing if our 3PL team is over here right now.
Right there.
There they are. It's insane what they do. We call it the box factory. It's like Willy Wonka. FabFitFun had this real challenge at a certain point. After it reached a certain scale, it was before my time, I think above 500,000 subs, it was really hard to it was really hard to find brands that are able to actually deliver on a 500,000 unit PO or something of that scale, unless you go to a Procter & Gamble or one of those really big CPG companies. So it effectively really made it challenging for the really cool up-and-coming niche brands to work with us, right? Because there's massive PO commitments, and there's really just no way of doing it. And so we were scratching our heads to try to figure it out. Oh, and then also the other side of it is like, we know there's no one box size that fits all, right? My preferences may be different, Nick, than your preferences. And so we had all these like competing issues around how do you personalize things effectively? And we were able to solve it on, okay, well, we could create a user experience that allows different people to customize in different ways. We could have, instead of 10 products, maybe 50 products in the customization window. But the question is, how do you then fulfill that? And how do you fulfill that not over the course of 3 months, but how do you fulfill that after our build date 1 or our build date 2, which is like literally fulfilling 1 million units in like a week? And every one of those units is totally custom, incredibly complicated. I wish I knew the answer of how they do it. I still have to visit our 3PL to figure out the systems in which they use, but it's definitely a work of art in the way it happens.
You guys own your own 3PL then?
Yeah. So one of the most, I would say, impressive things about FabFitFun is that layer that no one sees is the amount of investment, energy, and time that we've put into building out our 3PL. And I would say, and I think Dan and Mike and Katie, our founders, would say the same thing. One of the things they're most proud of is how unique, how efficient our 3PL is on a number of different platforms, or on a number of different factors, from how do you pick and pack on a customized level, how do you go from maybe 50 full-time employees to 550 full-time employees during peak times, which, as some of you know, when you think about Black Friday, Cyber Monday, that's a real challenge for fulfillment centers. Well, we do that 4 times a year, and we're really good at doing that. And then we've gone to the point where we've had so many subscription companies, actually, some of which are actually like here today, that have knocked on our doors, that ran into very similar issues that we ran into 3 or 4 years ago, and they just simply said, help. And we were helping them. We were sitting with them, just devoting our time, because in the end of the day, I think we're all homies in this industry and trying to, swim upstream in, challenging times. And we're like, let's try to figure this out together. And at a certain point, like, people were, hey, can you just fulfill for us? And we're like, all right, well, let's give that a try. And so, by really kind of the way that FabFitFun evolved organically on sort of the consumer side, I think there's a B2B evolution as well that went from just a service or a product that we designed for ourselves. Now it's a product that we're offering for other businesses and brands. And this is not a plug, by the way.
Yeah, no, I had no idea.
But if you guys want to talk about fulfillment, we do have a team over there.
Amazing. On that note, so talking about fulfilling, millions of boxes, do you believe that subscription boxes are still a good business today? Like, do you think consumers are scared of subscription, they're adverse to subscription, or do you think there's still a way to massage it in?
I think there's 2 parts to this, the subscription and the subscription box part to it. I've heard a lot of times subscription boxes are dead. I don't think they're dead. I think, like anything, they're evolving. A good example is, for those of you who live in New York, there was a juice craze that happened around 2016. Every block had like a juice bar. And everyone was doing a juice cleanse. It was the thing, in the way that boxes was just like a totally new way to shop. No one shopped like that before. It was personal, it was discovery, it was specific for you, and all at a good deal. It was the future, as many people said. People are still drinking juices. The press juiceries and the creations evolved, morphed, modified, grew up, listened to their consumers really well to understand what they need to do in order to stay in the game. The same thing is happening in the box space. There's challenge in the box space 100%. And for those that didn't evolve and mature and didn't have a tight P&L, didn't think about contribution profit when people weren't thinking about contribution, I think they had a really tough time. But I do think there's probably no better time than now to be in subscription as a whole, because of the data, because of the recommendations that we could provide our customers. one of the things that you and I were talking out there is because of companies like Tildai, started by the founder of Braze, a great ESP provider that's designed to take communication from personalized to personal. And there's no better type of company than I think a subscription company to take advantage of personal communication, WhatsApp messaging communication, a back and forth street, a back and forth dialogue. So I wouldn't be sitting here today if I wouldn't like subscriptions.
Yeah, makes total sense. At SubSummit, nonetheless.
Yeah. At SubSummit too.
So speaking of this, one of the words that you mentioned was community, and that's a buzzword that I think, especially in the last 5 years, gets thrown around a lot. It's a word that people are like, oh, we need community, or we need to build community. We need to hire somebody to do community. Could you give us, outside of your definition of community, like tactically, how does somebody build community?
Well, I think you do it really well. You're like one of the most impressive community builders I've come across. And I'm curious, just like as a side note, I'm curious to see where that's going to take you in like 5-10 years, because that's kind of the way that FabFitFun started. So about 10, 12 years ago, the founders were they were designing a newsletter. They were making newsletters for politicians. And someone told, I don't know if I'm able to repeat the story, but whatever, but someone told our founders, there's no money in politics. You should do the same thing in entertainment. Wow. And so they started doing the same thing in entertainment, and one of the newsletters they started building was Juliana Rancic's newsletter. And what happened then was people that were following the newsletter said, oh my God, I love your product recommendations. Can I buy some of your products from us? Kind of a full circle. I was working at Tom Ford New York at the time, and I get a call from Mike and Danny. They're like, do you want to put a Tom Ford fragrance in our box for 80% off? I was like, are you insane? What are you even, doesn't make sense to me. What is this box?
Tom okay with 80%?
I would not ever do such a thing as even put an idea like that in front of him back into 2012. But the idea ended up being brilliant. And then what happened was they ended up putting products in the box, or they ended up creating a box, one size fits all, basic thing, 5,000 subs, 10, 20, 30, so forth. And what they started to see is all of a sudden, like Reddit and Facebook groups started to form around FabFitFun. Part of it was product conversations. Is this good? Is this bad? Do you like it? Do you want to trade? There's a whole sub-channel, sub-market around FabFitFun. It still exists. But the other part of it, which I think is which is really the reason why I actually joined, is it's like lightning in a bottle. They started to become friends. They started to hang out. And if any of you are members of FabFitFun, you've probably seen this where, we have book clubs in Minnesota. We have, if someone has a birthday, there is a cake that gets created by FabFitFun members that gets sent to that woman in the form of a FabFitFun box. And so we're like, holy shit, this is crazy. And I wish, we could say that this is all by design, but the truth is great brands are not by design. They take all these different turns, and you can't build a brand in a deck. That just doesn't happen. You build a brand like this, through real people having real conversations, and you got to listen to those customers. And so the team at FabFitFun said, well, we're going to build our own Reddit. And that is the FabFitFun community platform. There's about 30, 40, 50,000 active users, daily active users, and we do everything from wishing people happy birthdays to asking them questions about a product to getting consumer insights to creating little focus groups to creating little book clubs. But it's a living, breathing entity. And the beauty of the community, and it's the funniest thing that I've seen, is they're not afraid to talk shit. If they don't like something, they'll make it known. And because they don't have just a direct relationship to the brand, they have a direct relationship to the founders. Katie and Mary are going to go back and forth for 2 days. And we within FabFitFun talk about the things that Mary, annual member 64536 is saying to Katie. And that becomes something that gets plastered on a wall that we actually dissect, that oftentimes is the nucleus to what a future product idea, by product, I mean a digital product innovation, comes from. It comes from our community, it comes from that. And there's probably more to talk about community, but the last thing that I will say to that is the brand side of it. Is we're doing a lot of work to move the mind share of what FabFitFun is from, everyone thinks of us as a box, but the truth is we have so many other factors within FabFitFun that we're far more of a club than a box. And so we're doing a lot of work to make that communication very clear, but sort of like the North Star and that key attribute of FabFitFun is not derived from an identity that an agency is building from us. It's derived from it's really derived from the relationship between our merchandisers and our community members, and understanding what is the thing that makes people tick and why are they here. And so that really just comes from that community. And so for us, I can't underestimate, like the reason why we're here today is because of the effort and energy we put into community.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of community, I think one of the most impressive things within even the FabFitFun community is how referrals have gotten passed around to other members, current community members or evangelists to new members. Most brands, when they think of a referral program, that's like, let me give somebody $10 with some crazy special link after I log in to a shitty website and give them a link and I'll get $10. How do you guys think about referral?
Preface to say that I love referral programs. Also, they rarely work well. I'm not an expert on referral programs, but I'm a student of it. And for us, I believe when I think about the ethos of FabFitFun, I think about a club made up of women, and women who generally want to help each other out. And so we have 2 referral programs. We have a give-get, and we test the hell out of the give-get. 5 to me, 5 to you, 50 to me, 50 to you, 50 to me, 100 to you, whatever. That's always maybe a 10th to a 20th of what our other referral program is, which is send, gift to friend. Send, gift to friend has no intrinsic value to the member. So if I'm giving, you over there was nodding your head when I talked about community, a gift, I get nothing out of it. I just get, except for the thing that matters most, which isn't $50, but it's making you happy. And that is the thing that gets used over and over and over again. And we've tested referral versus the send, gift to friend over and over again. And we even try to incentivize the member by giving them $20, $50. It didn't change at all. It didn't improve the impact at all. And what that says to me is twofold: that there is a power in marketing that lives a layer above money, which is feeling good and being good and doing good. And you should package and bottle that up. And 2, the physical product, like getting something physical versus getting a discount code or shopping credit, is obscenely more valuable and powerful. So like as a tactical takeaway for those are, e-com managers or running brands and the subscriptions, I guess all of you are, I would really try the send gift to friend program. Like if you have whatever, just have someone send a gift and see what happens. But it's always our number 2 or number 3 acquisition channel in terms of volume at no cost, aside from the cost of the cogs of the box.
That's awesome. And last question I have for you is, where do you think the future of subscription is? Is it bigger loyalty programs? Is it memberships? Is it just regular subscriptions? What do you think about that?
I think it's everything. I think it's everything in that. I think there's always going to be challenges, but there's challenges in the direct-to-consumer space. I think subscriptions are actually in a good place because of the data that's associated with creating a personalized, communication channel with your members. But I think I'll say for us, we look at FabFitFun as a membership. And because we look at it as a membership, we consider really everything. Like insurance could be something that we offer. A benefits program could be something that we offer. Like that's fair game. Why shouldn't we do that? If people trust us to merchandise products that is going to make their lives better, why can't we layer on the great offerings that we get from brands who want to work with us because it's valuable to them, and offer the savings and discounts and life improvements to our customers? And so I think that I think brands that wield a lot of data around their customers now more than ever have the ability to go into other sectors like never before. And I think the personalization to it is all really, really key, especially with some of the things that's happening on the OpenAI front, where you could create some pretty impressive scripts and some pretty impressive customization protocols, which allows each one of you to have your own personal FabFitFun experience. I think that's really exciting us. So it's like pick your own journey on SuperDrive type of stuff.
Amazing. Well, that's all the time we've got for today. Thank you for having us, SubSummit. If you find us around, have any questions, feel free to ask us, and enjoy the rest of your sessions.
Thank you very much.